22 February 2021, and I'm joined by Mr. Tinashe Jonas, President of Ideal Zimbabwe. How are you, sir?
As usual, blessed to be on Zimbabwe Media.
Fantastic. Today we're going to be very, very quick. Let us look at the situation happening in the Zimbabwe presidency. What is your view on what has been happening with Vice President Kembo Mohadi and General Chiwenga? You saw what we did last week. We featured a young man who was complaining about General Chiwenga taking his wife. And soon after, Vice President Kembo Mohadi has got 3 women that he has been exposed for being in love with. 2 of them married, 1 of them a student in Bulawayo. And this evening, a lower 6 student or an A-level student has come out. What do you think about what is happening in the Zimbabwe presidency?
Yeah, I think before I generalize, I would want us to take one case at a time. Especially quickly, I would want us to take us the issue of the case of General Chiwenga first. Then we can then discuss in detail the one for VP Mohadi, because apopane nyaya.
Okay. Right. Let's start with General Chiwenga. He was exposed by the husband. The husband gave proof that he went to General Chiwenga's house. It's definite that he was dating that young lady. What is wrong with that situation? Is that okay for a vice president to do that?
Okay, I would want you to remind me of 2 things. Number one, which year I'm not sure it started, 2016 or 2017. That's the first reminder I want. The second reminder, what was the proof of him going to, maybe of the affair or something, before I comment?
Okay. He confronted General Chiwenga about the affair at his house. And General Chiwenga was well aware of that confrontation. I personally phoned General Chiwenga. So I'm not talking about something here that I do not know. Simbachi Kanza did the same. He phoned General Chiwenga over the issue. General Chiwenga is refusing to respond to it. There is proof of this situation. It's not a fake story. It is a real story.
Okay.
A young man came out saying that his wife has been taken.
Okay. The one for General Chiwenga, I think I've got a problem. Why? Because a matter which started in 2016 and someone was quiet, now it's almost the 5th year. And suddenly he's serious with the issue now. And for almost 4 years, he was quiet about it, running around, people wanting to kill him, going off to other countries. But now he has got the guts to go to the media, to reveal everything. I'm not saying General Chiwenga is in a relationship with his wife or not, but to me, things are not really connecting well here, the dots, because the first month or the first days when you discover a relationship, those are the days that you are really very angry, so for someone to wait for almost 4 years and then start kufambira nyaya dzacho, I find it weird, because by now I think General Chiwenga could have been married to this lady, or they might have kids. This guy might also have another girlfriend or another wife. After a period of 4 years, it's a lot, So I don't understand, because I expect either both of them to have moved on. General Chiwenga should have a child or married his wife. He must have another wife by now. So I don't know where is the energy and the frustration comes 4 years, 5 years later. I don't understand there. I don't understand.
Okay, so you don't blame General Chiwenga for dating a young married woman?
No. Get my point. I don't really. We don't really have what do we call V11 year of a relationship. For a person to say I went to him to confront him, obviously a VP is well protected. His house is well protected. That there's no way you can confront him directly. Otherwise, you can shout at a gate or somewhere. So other than they said the activity of maybe screaming at the gate, There's nothing other than that. Because my problem here is this guy, from the version I had, General Chiwenga didn't go to his house, or this woman was not working for General Chiwenga. So if there was any meeting that happened, it happened probably in the streets or at the shops somewhere. But I didn't get it like General Chiwenga visited his home and then he proposed the woman. He was claiming like maybe they met somewhere in the streets or somewhere. So the first thing, if you meet a woman in a street or at the shops, you might not tell that someone is married. And then for this lady to claim that they met me, then they drove me somewhere, and then he wanted to sleep with me, and then I refused. And then he didn't sleep with me. Maybe he gave me money or he let me go home, and then he phoned me. And then the other day, he took me, and then we had sex. That version on its own, this woman was never working for General Chiwenga, and General Chiwenga was never coming to his house. They met somewhere. And surely this lady was proposed and she agreed. She accepted. So concerning this issue of General Chiwenga, if I meet someone in the streets and I propose you love, this lady agreed. She was proposed. There was no kidnap. There was no abduction. Because if General Chiwenga, with his position in Zimbabwe, takes a woman to a lodge, and then he wants sex, and the woman says no, why were you taken to the lodge? If within the lodge, a private place which is locked, you can agree, you can you can refuse sex, but the driving from somewhere to the lodge, you didn't reject. And when she rejected that sex from a virgin through the husband, General Chiwenga respected her and let her go home. Then that means another day she was phoned and she was taken to the lodge and the sex happened. To me, this woman didn't present any behavior of a married woman. If the affair indeed happened, she didn't project that. Number two, this woman General Chiwenga never abused any office here. He never abused his power, his office, because there's no mention of office interaction. There's no mention of these people even interacting in some sort of churchy or in a community organization. So this one for General Chiwenga, if we have got a big leader in our society, we look at the abuse of your office. If you meet,
what about your neighbor's wife? What about your neighbor's wife? Should you look at your neighbor's wife in that way? Okay,
thank you for that. I want this issue. Number one, it's clear this issue is not an issue of law. This is an issue of morality. That has got it to, and we have got a version from the husband. We don't have a version from the wife. We don't have a version from General Chiwenga. Now, if we are talking of morality here, that is involving the woman and General Chiwenga. And when a man, General Chiwenga is single, dating, allegedly that he proposed a love to a married woman, not with outside the homestead, outside the work. What proof do we have that General Chiwenga had knowledge that this woman was married? We don't have that proof. When a single man proposes love to a married woman, again, it's the same as a married man proposing love to a single lady and the single lady accepting. Morality doesn't have a gender. Morality doesn't have a status in society. Morality must be, we should observe it on individuals who are adults. These are adults who fell in love. And I blame the wife in this case, because the wife is married and she accepted a love proposal. If she said, I was raped in the lodge, the first encounter, I would have evidence that General Chiwenga abused his office because he was with the bodyguards. maybe guns, or obviously his security have got guns. I can say a poor woman was abducted and then was raped, and she's afraid to go even to police station. But the mere fact that she was taken from the streets or the shops and went to a lodge, and General Chiwenga wanted sex and she refused, and she was let to go out free. And then there was the second day, and she never told his husband, the husband had to discover from sources. Otherwise, this lady was concealing it. If you are taken to a lodge and then you are late, obviously it was not the following day. It could be maybe some days later. Then General Chiwenga phoned her, and then they went, and she was hiding this from her husband. She should have told the husband, and still maybe General Chiwenga sent his aides. Even the husband was there, and the aides because they're armed, they can take this wife to the lodge. Then we can talk of abuse of power. Here, to my own 2 cents analysis, the woman is 100% to blame, not General Chiwenga.
Okay, right. Let's pack this one because we obviously want to do this very, very quickly. Let's take VP Kembo Mohadi. He was dating a married woman who works in his office. She is his PA. There is audio. He was also dating another young lady. She recently got married and she was pregnant very, very recently with a child. I think you can see the picture here. This is the husband. And also here is the husband. I think
Mr. Chabuka.
Yes. And he's got a young wife. He recently divorced his original wife, and he started dating. These two are CIOs, the ones in white. They work in his office. They are part of his security team. What is your take on that? Is he abusing his power? Is he still clean after what he has talked with his mouth in public? Okay. Can we still call him a vice president?
Okay, before I comment on the affair, I want to clear one thing. The lady's husband is in the security at Munumutapa, meaning is a central intelligence officer. The lady is not any staff working for the presidium or which are not in the security department are not in the central intelligence. So this lady on record, she's not an official, she's not a central intelligence officer. She's not a CIO. She's a staff of the VP. She works for the VP, but she's not a central intelligence officer.
Okay, I'm quoting various sources who say that she's a member of the CIO.
No.
Yes.
They are basing I can't say sauce, maybe I can say tomato sauce. Their tomato sauce is just because this woman works in the office of the VP. So they are assuming that she must be a CIO. I am saying the woman is not a CIO. The husband is a CIO. The woman is a staffer in the office. She indeed is working for the VP. She's working for the VP.
Let's go to the question. Let's go to the question.
Yes.
VP Mohadi, after what he has spoken with his mouth in public, can he still be a VP?
Okay. Before I comment on his job, the fate of his job, let me comment on the relationship. VP Mohadi, Kembo Mohadi, panenyaya. Apa panenyaya chayo 100%. Apart defending, even if you are given millions, you can't defend this one. VP Mohadi, to me, in the court of morality, is guilty. In the court of ethics at work, to me, my personal opinion, VP Mohadi is guilty. And why? Because when you are dating your staffer, there are many complications. The first complication is that the staffer becomes a senior member in your office, because the office is no longer like the setup is no longer like it's a national office. It becomes a private house like whether we can take the office as a kitchen, as a bedroom. So anyone who is your lover becomes the senior staffer, but probably they are maybe she's even junior in the office, but she would use her powers because she's in love with the VP to undermine or gossip and even get other workers to be transferred or to be fired. That's the danger of having a lover within at the workplace. Secondly, VP, because of his job, the nature of his job, we expect him to lead by example. So to me, again, on leading by example, I think he failed dismally. And the third one, I want to emphasize that VP, I think he has disappointed himself, he has disappointed his family, he has disappointed Zimbabweans. But I want to explain that the matter is not at law. The VP is not guilty. At law, he is not guilty because this is a mere issue of morality. Then the other important issue here is that also we need to look at because the leaders, we should not also bash him alone. The issue, the leaking of these videos, before I comment on his job, the leaking of these audios to me is very worrying. Why is it worrying? I don't believe these women were recording VP Mohadi because these women are married. So the mere fact that these women can expose the VP, they are exposing themselves more because they are married. They want to save their marriages, and they can't think these relationships could have been months, years before. So these women can't just connive now and expose him same time in the same month of February. I don't think so. I think either they are enemies of VP from ZAPU. I think there was an issue of disagreements that VP Mohadi was not a senior member of ZAPU. There were other people who thought they were senior or they were really senior, and he was elevated to the post of VP. And some people think that it was like it was not they were not happy with that. Oh, I'm also worried about
Mr. Jonas. I want to stop you. I want us to I want us to look at this video. Right. Give me a moment to show you this video. Okay. This young lady was being proposed to by her husband, who has now left her. So I just want you to watch this briefly.
Okay.
Zwizere mundangariro zvichibatika mumaoko dorudo vainaro dorudo vainaro moyo motsi
Right, you saw that, right, Mr. Jonas? That's
yes,
a proposal. It's a young family, being built, and an old man with 71 years old is putting his hands on that young lady.
Okay,
it's like, to me, it doesn't look okay. No matter what the circumstances. He's doing that to a young woman and a husband who just had a child. Then he's doing the same to an A-level student right now who is in Bulawayo. He's doing the same to a polytechnic or Bulawayo Polytechnic student who he's paying school fees for. He's doing that to one of his bodyguards. He just phones a girl and says, "Can you come here?" He whenever
All
he's in Bulawayo, he phones the girl and he says, "Come here." Is that normal and is that acceptable?
Okay, thank you. It's acceptable. I'm not saying it's a good practice. Why am I saying it's normal and acceptable? Because these people must be over 18 years and above. We don't find anywhere in any audio or any SMS that these people are attempting to open a rape case, and then a police station or any other audio that they are telling their families that they are being called to go and that they are not interested. We should do, when we look at morality, as I said, we don't look at age, we don't look at the gender, but him as a leader in the society, we expect him to lead, to have even if he can do his deals or his activities, he must do them under the carpet. When they are out in the open, I think the first thing, VP, I said, is not guilty at law, but morally, I think you are supposed to issue a statement, especially an apology. Number one. Number two, I think you are supposed to resign. You are supposed to tender a letter to resign himself, because what is happening now, and I want to assure you, Mr. Gambakwe, that these audios and videos which are coming, I don't think they've ended, they've dried up. I still feel that there's much to come, and I'm just praying.
Let's look at the comment on the screen.
Okay.
This guy is sleeping with all these women. He does not use protection at all. It's known. It's been revealed. The girl in Bulawayo, he's not been using protection. The student has not been using protection. The woman who is in his office has not been using protection. And this woman who was being proposed to on the screen wasn't using protection. His wife is not using protection. His ex-wife was not using protection. Do you think he's got HIV? Which is spreading.
I can't speculate on that, but what I can comment on is that the practice of not protecting when your lovers are so many. Last time I checked about statistics of HIV, they were saying in every 3 adults, one must be generally positive. So in this case, we are seeing dozens and dozens, and the chances of one of the lovers or some to be positive is high. And in the event that he might unknowingly have the disease, he might be a super spreader. And it's unfortunate because there are also deadly diseases which are not like HIV. We have got other diseases which can be even curable, like they call what herpes, and I forget other two. They can't actually be cured. That's that, and even having no protection with a married woman, it means that there can be children which can be born which are not for that official husband. I think my own opinion, a VP must slow down. He must slow down. Even young people who are 25 years old, 30, they can't, the speed of him and the number of women, to me it's scary, and I really feel like he needs help. Somehow he needs help, because if he's doing this at 71, I'm imagining what if when he was 25.
Okay, let's wrap this up. What should Mnangagwa do in this case? Because I always go back to Mnangagwa. He's the head of the government.
Yeah.
Does he leave a person that has been recorded saying such filthy words on audio? Should he leave him to stand there and address the nation and be acting president? Okay.
Let me answer that in possible outcomes, because remember, here we are speculating. No one has emailed or phoned ED directly and say, President Mnangagwa, give us your official next move. So we are speculating. But so I want to focus on possible outcomes. The first outcome I see is that the videos I'm just praying that the sex tape or a nudes, they won't come out. Well, this thing is ongoing, Mr. Gambakwe. Believe me, this thing is not going to end in a year. So
Yeah.
I'm just praying that the nudes or sex tapes won't come out. Because if those two come out, I think they would finish him off. Okay, let's say they don't come out. Number two, a VP must resign himself before President ED comes in. He must show us that he is a leader of who can regret, who is accountable. Outcome number two, he must resign. Outcome number three, things, since he's not issuing a statement, anything, I think if president might not act on it, number three outcome, this thing can be ignored, like it's never happened. Why? Because our leaders in general in Zimbabwe, they are not responsible in anything, and they are not accountable in anything. We know in churches there's gumbura, and our women, they've accepted the status quo. Our women are like second-class citizens, and they've accepted it. They are not victims; they are also guilty.
What about sleeping together in the office? There's a comment here about that.
Okay, I'll comment on
Because
it.
you're blaming the women. You're blaming the women. I don't think you can blame a woman.
No, get my point. Get me right.
Yeah.
I said he must resign. I'm giving impossible. These women are not underage. Remember, they are not underage. Secondly, they are being raped. They are not being raped. We are focusing on VP Mohadi because he's a prominent figure. But I said the issue of morality. Let's not talk about constitution here. It's out. At law, is innocent, 100%. At law, we are talking of the morality here. Morality doesn't have gender. Morality doesn't have the status in society. Morality doesn't have the age. So if we appreciate that, then we will now know that the women are not victims. The victims are husbands. But
I don't agree, Mr. Jonas. I don't agree. You know what? Let's say your wife works at my office.
Yeah.
And I give her a job, and I'm a boss.
Okay.
And she knows that I can choose to keep her or fire her.
Okay.
Do you think it's not a position where I can take advantage of your wife?
Okay.
You can't say she's consenting.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Remember this issue, unless you are saying we are only focusing on the woman who was working in his office, because my understanding is that there are other women who are not even in the office.
What about the student is paying school fees for?
But she's not in the office.
Well, it depends on him.
Okay, Mr. Gambakwe, let me give you one example. I was with a friend who gave a woman a lift, and he wanted to propose that woman. So the woman said, I don't have money. He said, it's okay. I can take you from Johannesburg to Harare, buying expensive food, everything, because he wanted to propose that woman. When he eventually said, I love you, she told him point blank that I appreciate for the lift. And since we are at the border now, Bedbridge, if the lift is because of you want me, you can even leave me at the border. I don't have a problem. But if the lift is separate from your love proposal, then I can be gladly to continue to Harare with you. I was in the car, and we were two men. This woman was alone, and it was at night. We arrived at the Bedbridge border around 12 midnight. A woman alone in the car with the two men who are friends. But she told us point blank that, my friend, that if the lift is the same as the relationship, drop me here, even though I don't have money. Mr. Gambakwe, there are many stories of women who can be bought beer. There are women who can be employed as domestic workers, and the boss can even propose love. Unless the woman is raped. Let's not forget one thing. There's rape and there's proposal. So when these women are being phoned on the audios, they are even talking relaxed. and romantically, and they're in love. Let's not ignore that. These women are not victims. We are only saying the VP is abusing his office. How? Because in society, he has got a bigger position. That some women can even love him because they are afraid. What if I can be killed? You know, people some can think of the West. The number of women having sex in the office. Let's not forget that the first leader of Zimbabwe, the biggest leader in Zimbabwe, was Robert Mugabe, and Robert Mugabe did the same in the office. So these leaders, they are also supposed to learn a lot from their leaders, who was Robert Mugabe for a long time, and Robert Mugabe did the same. And it's happening a lot with ministers, with mayors, with church leaders, prophets. We hear stories about the Prophet Magaya. I'm not saying Prophet Magaya is doing it or not, but Mr. Gambakwe, there's a lot of stories about it, and you have never heard of anything, even including rape. Our society, I said, men, they are taking women as sexual objects or second-class citizens, and women are guilty also of accepting that status quo. VP Mohadi has never raped anyone, has never abducted anyone from any audio. These people are willing. Morality, they are both wrong. Although the VP has got a responsibility to have a behavior which must be exemplary in the society. So VP, we are focusing on him more because he's a prominent figure. But in terms of breaking the rules of morality, they are equally guilty.
Okay. I think I'm getting you. I'm getting what you're saying. And I wasn't getting this point that a woman has a right to say no when she's asked out.
Yes.
Right. What about the child?
Then, okay. There's not, Mr. Gambagwe, I'm not sure now, but I think the Sexual Assault Act in Zimbabwe must, I think, now start from 16. I'm not sure, but I think the Sexual Offences Act should be starting from 16 and above, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm mistaken, then it starts from 18.
Okay, let's wait a bit. Let's wait a bit there. You are saying a school child in Form 5 can say no to Mohadi and his bodyguards.
All right. Okay. Let's analyze the available data. If you are not underage, if you are underage, if we look at the Constitution of Zimbabwe, there is a certain age that no matter you say no or yes, the man is guilty of statutory rape. But in this event, from this data that we have got now, there is no behavior of VP Mohadi using force or abducting. He actually calls someone who is at home or away from the office, and the person answers very well and comes willingly without rushing to a police station for escorting or anything, or pretending that the network is bad, because you know that when a VP is calling, he wants sex. These women were supposed even to pretend like they can't hear him, the network is bad. They are actually willing. So I'm saying we are only focusing on VP because he holds he's a prominent figure and he is a leader. But the women are equally guilty like him, because they are not forced. Okay, let me talk on the employment. VP, they don't employ anyone in Zimbabwe. When you are employed under the government of Zimbabwe, you are under the Ministry of Labor and Social whatever. There should be an organization you are under. A VP doesn't conduct interviews, employ, fire, hire, fire. I want to believe that these workers, they are 100% government workers. The same as the VP's security, drivers, everything. There are people who are employed by the government of Zimbabwe. So the VP is the worker of the government of Zimbabwe. He is the same as these workers, only that the VP is a senior, holds a senior position in the government of Zimbabwe. But these are they are both workers of the government of Zimbabwe. They are civil servants. The VP is not employing people.
Okay, so Mnangagwa should not fire him.
No.
Like, I want us to go there because we said
Okay.
he has already done so much that he
Yes.
must step down by himself.
Yes.
Morally, he has done so much, too much.
Yes.
In fact.
Yes.
Now,
Too much.
let's say he doesn't resign.
Yes.
The president of Zimbabwe should just stand there with a person that has spoken such words in public,
Okay.
who has lost all dignity in front of everyone. And
Okay.
just leave
Thank you
him.
so much. Thank you so much. I mean, the president is the appointing officer, appointing authority of the vice president. In this case, Mr. Kembo Mohadi was the VP Chiwenga. His case is out. There's no case. The president can fire VP Mohadi, but on morality, he is not firing him on any legal or constitutional matter. Because the
What
VP,
about using the office of the
Okay.
government of Zimbabwe for your own disgusting acts during office hours?
Thank you so much. Let's not be emotional, Mr. Gambakwe here. There's no law in Zimbabwe that says when you have got sex in the office, you must be fired. There's no law like that. Let's look at the law. A country is run on laws. Anyway, having sex in the office is not a crime under Zimbabwean law. Constitution.
The companies I've worked for, if you even do that, you'll be fired that day.
Okay. I won't be a spokesperson of those companies, but in the government of Zimbabwe, remember, companies can have their own laws or code of conduct, whatever it is. But in Zimbabwe, having sex in the office, whether you are a presidium or whichever office, it's not a crime that you can be charged and be sentenced or be fired. Remember, a crime, you are either sentenced in prison, or you can be fired, or you can pay a fine. VP is not guilty of that. It's not a crime. It's centered on morality. So if President Mnangagwa is firing VP, he is going to fire him on morality, not because he has broken any law. He has not broken a law. So President Mnangagwa can fire VP or not fire him, because constitutionally he has never broken any law or any rule.
Okay, I think, Mr. Jonasi, almost 90% of Zimbabweans
Yes.
do not agree with you. If I look at the comments here,
Yeah.
Mohadi, tomorrow he should basically just put in his letter. Most Zimbabweans are totally against what VP Mohadi has done. He's shamed himself and the whole country, especially with the words that he has spoken. Because I think the worst thing is the words that he has spoken.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gamba,
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Gambagwe, let me come in. Zimbabweans, they judge a situation emotionally, number one. Two, over 90% of Zimbabweans, they are judging this matter politically. Let me explain to you why Zimbabweans are also lost in transition. Zimbabweans, they are claiming that it's mostly the MDC alliance which is saying Mohadi must go. MDC alliance, for starters, they don't recognize the appointing authority. President E.D. Mnangagwa, they say is illegal, is illegitimate. So when ED is illegitimate and he appoints VP Mohadi, it means, according to MDC Alliance, it means the whole process is illegal. So VP Mohadi can't be fired by who, from where to where, because the people are saying this government is not recognized. I start from there. Then I go to the issue of language. We have got Honorable Themba Muliswa, probably 2 weeks ago. He spoke even worse than the VP. You remember, he's the honorable member of parliament. and no one. He has got 18 children, and he spoke worse language than VP Mohadi. And the Zimbabweans are quiet about Honorable Muliswa to resign. The same Zimbabweans are quiet. Were quiet on Gumbura. When the same Zimbabweans are quiet on Tonde Shone. Tonde Pishone was married and was the director of MDC, and he was sleeping with his secretary, and the pictures were out there in public. No one said he must resign. So Zimbabweans are selective. They judge this thing politically. VP has never committed any crime, but I'm not saying he is innocent. I am saying he's guilty in the court of morality, in the court of conscience. Not he doesn't deserve to be. Okay, let me give you an example of sex scandals that people might not know. We have got Donald Trump, the former US president. Donald Trump was in love with an adult entertainment actor, Stormy Daniels. And he tried to bribe her to do this, and the matter came out, and his lawyer was sentenced to 3 years in prison, imprisonment. Donald Trump went on to win as a president, and there were 6 more women who had lawsuits. He continued to be a president. He was not affected. The former president, Bill Clinton, he was about 49 years old, and he was sleeping with his office intern, who was about 22, Monica Lewinsky, something like that. There were scandals, and they were true, and they went on to charge him with perjury and I think obstructing the course of justice, and he was impeached, and then the impeachment fell through. Why? Because they were impeaching him because he had lied. He had under oath that I'm not in a relationship. Otherwise, Bill Clinton was not charged for being in a relationship. He was not charged for sleeping with his secretary in the office. There is no law like that even in America. He was only charged because under oath he lied. So that's perjury. That's perjury.
Okay. So let's say there's a school function, right?
Yes.
And you need some students to be talked to by an official. Would you send Mohadi?
All right. I'm happy because you are in that example. I will be sending him Mohadi. That means I will be a president. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'll be scared. I'll be scared because I know that comrade is on fire. I won't do that. I will never send him. I will never fail.
So he's unfit. He's unfit to hold the office of a vice president.
No, get my point here, Mr. Gambakwe. We are saying the same thing, me and you. When you break morality, if I visit your home, Mr. Gambakwe, and then I greet you, maybe your culture, when you are a visitor, you sit down and greet people. So if I come to your house and greet you while I'm standing, I'm not guilty of any crime. You can't call police. You can't really chase me out. But you might feel that morally, as a Shona or as a Zimbabwean, I was wrong. But it's not an offense that you can really call your dogs and then they must bite me all over the body. So the VP has not committed any crime because he is having this. He is making love with these women legally. I mean, so that's the. Otherwise, there are so many ministers and leaders in Zimbabwe who are doing the same or more that are even known by people, and they are not resigning. Zimbabweans were quiet when Grace Mugabe and Robert Mugabe did the wedding, and the people attended. Even VP Mohadi was in attendance. VP Chiwenga was there. President Mnangagwa was there in that wedding. and ministers were there. What are we saying about the marriage of Robert Mugabe and Grace Mugabe?
Okay,
Are we
Mugabe
saying
was never recorded speaking. You see, the problem with Mohadi is what they've recorded him saying. Because
okay.
you know, the moment you speak, it's different from me assuming or hearing. The
Okay.
moment you speak, those words that is spoken, it's totally chaos.
Okay, Mr. Gabagwe, are you saying someone who married someone's wife and did even a wedding and children, are you saying that person is better because there's no audio? But we know as a fact, matter of fact, that Grace Mugabe was married. That is a fact. It's not a speculation. And we know that Mugabe married her and until he passed on. And we are ignoring that because there's no audio. So are we judging our morality? Are we judging our morality because of audios? Or morality to me is morality. Whether it's a video, whether it's a picture, whether it's a fact. So we are selective. Robert Mugabe, people are quiet.
Okay.
And he was.
Mr. Jonas, let's ask Mr. Rusike to wrap up for us. Mr. Rusike, you talked about where these audios came from in your video this morning. Who is leaking these videos, and what should happen to Mohadi?
Yeah. Firstly, I would like to say that I believe it is a crime that our Vice President has done, in the sense that he has abused his power of office. This is the same with what happens when you are a teacher, and if you're a teacher and you sleep with your student, this you are fired immediately from the ministry. That is the same thing that has happened, because your subordinate, they are obliged to follow you, to submit to you, and even in such scenarios where they are being told that if you are not going to give me sexual favors, I'm not going to promote you, because obviously there is a benefit that is attached to that, and that is what causes women to do that. So I believe that for you to say that it's not a crime, yet we have got so many campaigns that are happening all around the world talking about sexual harassment. This is sexual harassment that happened to these women, because if you say somebody consented, you must look at the level of consent, because if I meet someone who is of my let's say I'm working at a company and this is my workmate, we are on the same rank, then if I talk to them and we consent to have sex, there is no problem, because we are people of we are equal in terms of authority. But if somebody who is superior to me and they come and they ask for sexual favors from me, it is very difficult. It puts me in a difficult position for me to deny that. And this is what our public official has done. So that, to me, is sexual harassment. So that is what our Vice President is being charged with, and that we cannot just put it on morals only.
Mr. Rusike, I'm not interjecting. I just wanted to clarify the crime, quoting, referring to the Constitution of Zimbabwe. Thank you. Continue, Mr. Rusike.
Okay, Mr. Rusike, let's wrap up. I want us to go to the question: should Mohadi continue as the Vice President of Zimbabwe?
All right. Let me wrap up. Let me conclude. I might not know the legal basis of that, but I am standing on the issue of sexual harassment. That's number one. But I believe that, in all honesty, in all justice, this issue should be looked at by the president, and it's in an issue of public interest, and I believe that he should not continue. He can be suspended or be step aside for some time until this matter has been put to bed, because for him to be fired, obviously they have to do some investigations, and see and also look at the legal side. But what I can say is that based on what we have on the ground, the president must suspend him or put him or maybe on a special leave until this matter has been put to rest. That is my opinion on this. I'm not saying he must outrightly be fired, but he must at least be suspended or be asked to step aside.
Okay, Mngoma Charles, tell us,
Hello.
what do you think? Should Mnangagwa fire Mohadi?
Okay, I think he should fire him, but I'm sure he's not going to fire him. Let me explain. Legally, when you are appointed, this is government post. So legally, when you are appointed at the pleasure of the president. You are serving at the pleasure of the president. That means he legally have the power to fire you at any time, whenever he thinks that or he feels that whatever you are doing currently, or in this case, what the two vice presidents are doing, is not at his pleasure. So by not firing them, it will be an indication that he himself, the president, is approving of he has pleasure in all these allegations. So it's a catch-22, because the problem is legally he can have the power to do that, because in the constitution he can fire. But the trick is, can he do it politically? Because there is legally, he can have the power to do so. But when you go to politics, you might find out that it will be too risky, because if you go back, you can see that most of the times, the vice presidents and the presidents, their issues when it comes to firing each other, it's always complicated. If you remember what happened between Zuma and Mbeki, and what happened even to him, to ED and Mugabe, he was fired, but he come back and he become the president. If you remember Jacob Zuma was fired and he come back and become a president. If you go back, you can even see in Botswana we have Ian Khama and the vice president, who is the president now. So you can see that politically it's always a complicated issue. But in this way, I think it's more complicated because Mohadi is Ndebele. So this thing, it's very sensitive to, if it was, for me, I will not look at the intricacies of the case in nitty-gritty, but politically, I think you will not fire these vice presidents. One, because if you fire them in government, but in the party, they still hold their positions in the party. That's where the trick is. So if one is vice president in the party and vice president in the government, you fire them, you cannot fire them in the party. You only fire them in the government. So when you go back to the party conferences and party business, they are still your vice president, they are still your vices. So that's where the thing starts to be very, 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 very difficult. But as it goes, I think morally, as it stands now, I think nothing is going to happen. There is no statement, there is nothing. But if I was ED, I was gonna put a statement out there that says, because it's a public interest, you cannot just, it's impunity when people do things of this sort, knowing that there is no accountability. There are allegations as they stand now, but even if there are allegations, there are people who are alleged to have committed these acts, are people of high stature. There are people who should not have even been accused of, they should not even have been allegations of the people who hold those offices. So if it happened that there are allegations, they have to be looked at, so that because leadership, we should have confidence in our leadership. So what is going to make so that we don't lose confidence? Confidence is everything. So morals can play. Morals are very important. Legally, yes, legally they cannot. Maybe there's no case legally. There's no rape. They agreed. But actually, when we go to morals, we cannot trust people who have low morals. If that happened, then that means. That is where you see that a lot of comments and a lot of people are complaining, is because they lack, now people lack confidence in the leadership. So you cannot say, okay, I am your leader constitutionally. You cannot base things on law.
I hear you, Mngoma Charles. You cannot base things on law, and this should be a moral decision.
Because it's politics.
This is what Mr. Jonas was saying. I want us to wrap this up, so I'll have to ask you to leave the studio. so that we can continue and close with Mr. Jonasi. Is there anything else you want to say before we let you go?
Okay, I think the issue of two vice presidents in future, we have to take a look at them, because now if you see, even if it's fit for ED to fire Mohadi, but because he is the representative of the Ndebele peoples according to their agreement they have way back. But I think the issue of two vice presidents, we have to look at that. If we have one vice president, whether it's Ndebele or a Shona, it does not matter, because it seems like the Shona peoples, this thing was crafted in a way that we will make sure that we will never have Ndebele president, because if we have Ndebele vice president and it's only one, that means automatically if something happened to our president, that one is going to be our president. So this two vice president thing, I'm not comfortable with it. I think it's something we have to take a look at in future if we have time. I think for now I will stop there.
Cool. Ngoma Charles, we'll see you again tomorrow.
Okay, Mr. Gambagwe, before he leaves, I wanted to correct that Mr. I think Mr. Kembo Mohadi is a vendor, not a Ndebele.
Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah.
But I think
vendor.
Okay, it was his vendor. Okay, yeah, you are right. It was vendor. But my point was he is as a representative, because if you still remember, I think Mr. Jonas knows the agreement they have with Nkomo and the Zapu and that stuff, so that there will always be a vice president that comes from Matebele land. So as it stands right now, he is that person who represents the Matebele land side. So that's where I am saying that.
Are there no other Ndebeles we can use? Are there no other Ndebele people we can put there?
No, they can be. They can be other people's, because there's a lot of Ndebele people that can fill that post. But what I am saying is, now if he fires him, because now remember what is happening is VP Chiwenga have his own story, and he himself have his own stories. So that's where the problem is. But if VP Chiwenga did not have anything against him, any allegation, it was better. Then the allegations was only towards Mohadi. But now both of them, remember, even if your team was should Munangawa fire Chiwenga and Mohadi, it was not only Mohadi, you understand, because you put them both, because all of them, they have allegations. But now I think my point on the Ndebele vice president was that I don't feel comfortable with it, because I think it was a way that maintains that we always have a Shona president, because if there are two, you can see from the not Ndebele who have ever gone to the presidency, but there were always two. There were always two vice presidents. So that thing, we have to look at it in a broader way, but not today. Maybe in the other day, we have to look at it. Is it efficient? Is it efficient in this time of era? So I think that was my approach. So politically, he cannot fire anyone. That if he does that, I will applaud him. But as I see now, he cannot fire anyone. The worst thing, the president will not say a word about this thing until it just goes. But the people will be very angry, because they need to register their anger. Even on the morality, in the morality court, that if our vice presidents there are allegations, there are videos, there are audios, there are all these things, and the president himself is keeping quiet, what does that mean? So that I think he have to address this, or at least sit down with them, understand what is happening, and comes back to the people and address the people. No, I sat down with them, they put their story in this way, I believe them. So, okay, we say, okay, you believe them. It's better that the president will say, I believe them. I believe their side of the story, rather than that to keep quiet and wish that this thing will go away. Mr. Jonas was saying that maybe in future there will be photos, there will be videos. So silence, I think, is not an option, because it can get worse and worse and worse and worse. Then when you came back to address it, it will be more difficult, because now you are forced with circumstances. It was better for you to act whilst the circumstances were limited, were at a lower controllable stage. So if there is a video tomorrow, what is going to happen? Then that's the kind of things. And the current situation in Zimbabwe, it's very sad that we are busy talking about allegations of audios and infidelity and stuff like that, considering that our leadership will look at them and say, the economy and all those stuff. Those are the things that we should be debating, saying that this policy and that policy. But this is sad that we find ourselves talking about this instead of talking about policies and stuff they are implementing. So that means we are very away from the country being come back to be economical and stable if we are in this current way.
Okay, Mkoma Charles, thank you very much. I want to let you go so that we can wrap up with Mr. Jonas. I hear your point exactly, and I hope that we'll be able to continue talking about this sometime this week. I'll see you again tomorrow and we'll talk.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
Right, I think, Mr. Jonas, let's wrap up. What you said is that General Chiwenga, his case is better because it's not certain. And then he said VP Mohadi, it's very hard to defend him because there's video and there are multiple women involved. So where we are now, you said he needs to step down by himself because Idi Mnangagwa cannot fire him for moral issues. And the things like having sex in the office, they are not illegal. They are bad, but they're not illegal. So wrap up for me. Let's say a sex tape comes tomorrow. Is that enough for Mnangagwa to fire him if he doesn't step down?
Okay, all right, thank you. I'm happy that we are a nation of we condemn. In Zimbabwe, people sentence someone to death. There's no community service in that thing. All right. VP's case, Chiwenga, is not a case at all because there was no office involved. VP Chiwenga was not visiting their home. They met somewhere in the street, whatever. The VP Chiwenga, it's a relationship to me. VP Mohadi, it's a relationship that in terms of morals, VP Mohadi is to me is guilty, 100%. And but to condemn him 100%, we won't be fair because there's Themba Muliswa, there's Robert Mugabe, there's a lot involved, Magaya, Prophet Magaya, and other people. And secondly, Zimbabweans in general, we are not a nation of people who take responsibility. We are not. Why? I want to give you an example, Mr. Gambakwe. These women involved with the Themba Muliswa, the organizations for women in Zimbabwe were quiet. The issue of the VP Mohadi right now, the women organizations, activists in Zimbabwe, they are quiet. Those who are talking, mostly they are talking from an MDC alliance, a political point of view. We are women organizations, Musasa Project, they only come out selectively. So we are a nation which is I don't know, maybe I can say we fly by night. No one is visible in Zimbabwe. So these leaders that we have are leaders we are coming from that society. Mr. Gambakwe, you can appreciate and viewers can appreciate. I'm watching almost every week, or if not every day, a video of a husband who has discovered his wife with a boyfriend. That is happening on WhatsApp and social media, and people must even agree. What do we conclude from that? Cheating in Zimbabwe right now, it's trending. It's trending. So why must we expect leaders of the same society to be of high moral standing, and then ordinary people to be of less moral standing? Our leaders are coming from our families, from our villages. Our society of Zimbabwe is a sick society. Even those who are talking about VP Mohadi to resign, to be fired, if we can look into their lives, we can be shocked. Cheating in Zimbabwe, it's a cancer. It's a problem right now, and it starts from bottom top because the VP Mohadi was not born a VP. He was not born a minister. He was so.
Right. I think your point is
Yes.
made. I think your point is made. So let's go back to 1999.
Yeah.
Kembo Mohadi was Home Affairs Minister back then, or whatever. I don't know what was his portfolio. His
Okay.
wife was cheating with a guy called, I think, Tonori Stephen Ostrova Mutonori, right?
Okay.
And he disappeared from a hotel called Omadu Hotel, and his body was found at Mzingwane outside Bulawayo.
All right.
Are you aware of this story?
Yeah, I'm aware of it.
Okay, so when his wife is stolen, he kills. But
All right.
when he takes someone else's wife, it's okay.
All right. I want to appreciate that the story it's known all over because it was published. But the issue of him killing the suspected boyfriend, I think it's 100% speculation. It's speculative. No one has got evidence, because why? Evidence comes only when someone goes to a competent court and get tried. Because he has never been arrested and tried, we can only speculate. So him killing the so-called boyfriend, it's a speculation. It's not a fact. So we can't then equate his affairs now and said he killed, because I don't think his wife has come out at any platform and say, I was cheating my husband with this guy and my husband killed. The wife, I think she has never even admitted the relationship. And she has never pointed finger that my husband killed this. And because remember, when someone is arrested, he has never been into court about the killing. So let's just assume that the wife cheated, but the wife has never admitted, and the audio has never came out.
Okay, I think we still have a long way to go with this story, and I'm sure you've done justice to General Chiwenga. I can give General Chiwenga maybe 50% benefit of the doubt, but for Mohadi, I'll give him like 2% benefit of the doubt.
No,
just because I can't give him.
No,
zero.
VP Mohadi is wrong, 100%. But I am saying his being wrong is limited to the court of morality only. Not he has never broken any law in Zimbabwe. If the president decides to fire VP Mohadi, the president won't be firing him because he has broken any law. The president is allowed by our constitution to fire the vice president at any given time, even on competence, any other grounds besides even the scandals. The president can even fire a VP without a scandal. The president doesn't wait for any excuse to fire. But I'm saying constitutionally, VP Mohadi is 100% innocent. So people must differentiate morality in the court of public opinion. A court of public opinion is not constitutional. Bill Clinton had the same scenario. He was never fired because there was no law. He was simply charged with perjury and obstruction of justice because he had lied under oath that I've never slept with my secretary. There's no law that a VP or a president should be fired because of that. There's no law. There's no basis at law. So people must know that VP, there's a high chance of him not being fired because he has not committed any law.
Okay. I think let's wrap it up here. And I would like to thank everyone who joined, Charles and my brother Jetro. It's a very interesting discussion. And I do not think it's lost on people that there's a prophecy which came 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago that the Zimbabwe president is going to be very embarrassed I think I'm going to play it the next time when we're together here. And if I was the opposition, I would not let this go. I would only stop when Mohadi has left. This is the best chance that the opposition in Zimbabwe has got to shake Mnangagwa's government. Am I wrong to say this?
Okay, you are. I would say you are wrong. Why? Because every Zimbabwean must be allowed to have opinions concerning the matters of governance of their country. So you are being a proactive citizen. You are being a good citizen if you are participating in and coming up with the suggestions. I admire you for that, but it's not then correct that the opposition must take opportunity. Why? If there was any law which was broken, then the opposition must stand up. I gave you examples of South Africa where Zuma was marrying women like like lunch, breakfast, and food. That was not a problem to anyone. I gave you example of US, which claim to be the biggest democracy in the world. The scandal of Bill Clinton, scandal of the former president Donald Trump, who had a total of 7 lawsuits, but it didn't affect him, his presidency, until he left because he lost the election. So this thing is not happening in Zimbabwe. It happens many places. It's not a basis for someone to be fired. That's what I'm saying. It's not a basis for someone to be fired. So even if opposition leaders can scream from a clouds and stratosphere, whatever is platform they can use, the country is run by the constitution of Zimbabwe, unfortunately. So there is no way you can be vocal. Making noise is fine, but it will remain noise because opposition are not appointing authority. President Mnangagwa is not guilty of anything. His position is there to uphold the constitution of Zimbabwe. President Mnangagwa, if he doesn't fire VP Mohadi, he also hasn't broken any law. We won't accuse him of any wrongdoing. So if they remain quiet, both of them, no one is guilty at law.
Right, Mr. Tinashe Jonas, President of Ideal Zimbabwe. I really enjoy talking to you every Monday, and I hope that we can continue these conversations. 2021 has started on a very fast note, and I hope more will happen so that our country can change. Is there anything else you want to say before we close?
Yeah, what I want to say is when I'm not saying Zimbabweans must forgive the VP because I am a Zimbabwean. I will speak on behalf of myself. I just hope that our mindset as Zimbabweans would change one day to a point that we grow one another. We grow one another and be united and stop analyzing situations politically. I can assure you that people who support ZANU-PF, they would defend the VP. People who are in opposition, they would say the VP must go. Because this is a political game. Politics is playing every day, and we even forget the constitution of the country. Let's not be emotional in our interpretation of data, in our data analysis. Let's not be emotional. Secondly, let's not be political. Morality is not a rule. Morality is not a law. People must agree. And a woman who is at law allowed to have sex is not violated. Let's stop. Being called a woman doesn't mean you must be better than a man. We need gender mainstreaming. A woman and a man must be equal at law, morality, whatever, economic, everything. But we are choosing to take these women as victims and a man as a perpetrator. That is wrong. These women are, there's also a man who is a victim here. These women, we are saying they are victims of the VP Mohadi. What about their husbands? Are their husbands not victims of their wives? We are doing selective justice, and our nation will never carry forward. We need to think holistically, not to think in a line. No, a good Zimbabwe, men and women are equal. Morality doesn't see gender, doesn't see age, doesn't see status. It's not a crime that VP Mnangagwa is a vice president. Otherwise, anyone can be a vice president. It's not a crime that someone is a junior worker. But who is loose to cheat his husband? A husband. Let's be fair.
Let's be fair in cheating.
No. Cheating is morally wrong, but in cheating there's a man and a woman. But we are choosing that in a cheating involving the VP president, we are removing women. So it's like he was cheating alone. This VP, I think, is a single man. He's single. He's not cheating. He's single. He's not married officially. These women, especially the worker, is officially married, and we are choosing to ignore that and want to project her as a victim. That to me, that we are selling out our morality ourselves. Even the people who are analyzing here, they are also morally wrong and corrupt.
Right, Mr. Tinashe Jonas, I really enjoyed talking to you, and we've talked longer than I expected. Thank you to everyone who's watching on YouTube and to those who are watching on Facebook. We'll be back again during the week. We're trying to slow down a little bit, so I'll try to skip a day here and a day there. Thank you very much, Mr. Jonasi, and we'll talk again next week on Monday.
Thank you for inviting me. I feel